All right, so it is 6 o'clock on the nose. I hope everybody is doing fine and can see my screen. I want to thank everybody for coming in, or at least hopping on to our inaugural, I guess you could say, Camp Erie parent meeting via Zoom. Certainly something, this is my first time doing a big group meeting like this, so I think for everybody's sake, it looks like we've got close to 62 people on this call right now. So if everybody could just do me a huge favor and mute your microphones really quick, just so that we can make sure that we're, being respectful of everybody else that's on the call, as well as just making sure that you guys can all hear me and all that kind of stuff. Right now, everybody should see just the first slide for our Camp Erie parent meeting. Obviously, I'm going to go over all the information that are on these slides. I don't think it'll take too long, just because not being in person, we kind of lose a little bit of that hominess feel, I guess you could say. We'll normally play like a big group game for everybody to play to kind of break the ice and all that kind of stuff. But like I was saying, if everybody could just kind of hold your questions until the very end. And I do ask, just again for sake of ease, if you guys have a question at the end of the presentation, please type it into the Zoom chat box, and I will get to answering those questions at the very end. Like I said, I know that there's kind of a lot of questions going around our camp and everything like that, but I just want to make sure that I'm being respectful of everybody's time here, and that we get through the information that I have on here, and then we can leave it open at the very end of the presentation for questions and all that kind of stuff. So with all of that being said, we'll go ahead, we'll get started. Obviously, I think you guys all know who I am. If this would work for me. Gotta love technology, right? Yeah, there we go. All right, perfect. Obviously, like I said, you guys can see me here. My name's David Peters. I'm the General Interest Programs Coordinator with the Town of Erie Parks and Rec District. We'll also have Hannah Gallagher. She is going to be our Erie Community Center Director. So that's for kids ages 8 to 14. Valerie Martis is coming back for her second summer. She'll be over at ARPS. And then Caitlin Thornton, she's also going to be our Camp Erie Director over at the Erie Community Center. And then we have another Caitlin, actually, ironically enough, and she will also be working alongside Valerie over at ARPS. So like I said, we've got a kind of a good mixture of new faces, some old faces, all that kind of stuff. And I know that our staff is going to do an amazing job this summer in just making sure that we can provide you guys and all of the campers that we have in our care a safe, healthy, and then obviously a fun environment for this summer. So like I said, I'll list all of their contact details a little bit later on here. And then you guys can always reach out to me via email, or you can give me a call as well. I've been working remotely through all of this, so nothing's really changed there except for my location. So yeah. And if it would load my next slide. It's just taking a little bit to think. Thank you, everybody, for your patience. Goodness me. 1 second here. All right. We're going to do this the old-fashioned way. So, so as you guys can see, we do have a couple of different COVID-19 updates that I'd like to share with you all. I have been trying to kind of disseminate these for you guys in those weekly emails that I've been giving out, but I know it's kind of a lot of information to kind of sift through and kind of work through, but I just wanted to put it here on paper for you guys so you guys all can see you know, the precautions that we're taking to make sure that everybody is having a safe summer, not just the kiddos, but also our staff members as well. So these are the different policies that we have in place for the summer. Our check-in process is going to look a little bit different compared to previous years. What that's going to look like is we are going to have our check-in take place outdoors. It's recommended by the CDC, you know, Governor Polis, the Colorado Department of Public Health and Education, as well as our licensing specialists. So that's one thing that we will be doing this summer, just to kind of help people from congregating in one area. And like I said, you guys are more than welcome to keep your kids in the car until we are ready to, you know, get everybody admitted into camp. But that's one policy that we're going to be implementing this year, just to make sure that, you know, we're being respectful of everybody's space and we're doing our best job to, you know, maintain those social distancing guidelines that we've all become familiar with during this pandemic. So for that drop off, it is going to be at the ECC, or for the kids at the ECC. It's going to be at the west doors closest to the roundabout. So when you pull into the community center, that big roundabout, we have a set of stairs there and a set of doors. We're going to be admitting campers. We'll have a check-in table there. And then obviously if there's inclement weather, I'll let you guys know where check-in will be. But we're going to keep that flow again to reduce the risk of you know, any violations in that social distancing protocols that we'll be doing. Over at ARPS, or Aspen Ridge Preparatory School, we'll be using the west playground entrance. So again, we'll have balloons and all that kind of stuff up that first day of camp, just so everybody knows kind of where to go. Just to be clear, all that good stuff. Another policy that we'll be implementing this year is going to be temperature checks. We will be doing temperature checks periodically throughout the day as well, but we'll do a health screening prior to your kid coming into camp or your camper coming in, just to be safe. We will also be doing these same temperature checks for our camp staff as well. And then just so you guys are aware, it's recommended by the CDC that campers or staff exhibiting a temperature of 104 degrees or 100.4 degrees or higher won't be admitted into camp. We will turn you away just to make sure that we're keeping not only your camper safe, but also the other campers in our care as well as our staff. So something to kind of keep in mind there. And then we do ask, we will be following the social distancing guidelines at check-in, drop off, and then throughout the day at camp as well. We are also going to be updating the frequency of our hand washing. We're going to do it every hour and then in between transitions. So if warm soap or water isn't available, all of our staff will also have alcohol with at least 60% you know, alcohol content in it, just to make sure that everybody is you know, staying sanitized and being safe that way. Another thing that we'll be implementing is groups smaller than 10. So it's 10 campers plus 1 staff. So we are actually adjusting our ratios. So your kids are actually going to get a little bit more of an intimate experience with their camp director and their groups. So that's something that, again, was recommended by the CDC as well as the Colorado Department of Public Health and Education. And then another protocol that we're going to have in place is also making sure that campers and staff are going to be required to wear facial masks. And yeah. So we'll also be making sure that signs and symptoms of COVID-19 will be posted around the facility and emphasized by campers and staff. So we ask, again, for the safety of everybody, including your kids, that if you're sick or feeling or showing any of these symptoms, please stay home. And you can always let me know or one of the camp directors know. Again, I think one thing to really kind of emphasize this summer is going to be clear communication, and we'll do our best to make sure that we get all of the right information disseminated out to you guys. And again, we just ask that you guys kind of do the same for us, just to make sure that we're all you know, on the same page and doing everything the best that we can. So and then, like I said, if a staff member, you know, heaven forbid, we have a staff member or camper that does transmit the virus, they, and if you guys have any family members, will not be allowed into camp and will be asked to self-quarantine for 14 days, or if they aren't exhibiting any signs or symptoms for 72 hours. We will notify Weld County Health Department as well. Again, fingers crossed that we don't even come to this, but again, it's always better to have this policy in place and make sure that you guys are all aware of it, than to have something come up and kind of be acting reactive rather than proactive. So and then, like I said, we've been following, all of this closely, like I'm sure you guys have. So, please note that we are doing our best to follow these recommendations set in place by Governor Polis, the CDC, and all of those other agencies that I kind of listed previously. So, kind of back more to the regular normal stuff for camp. As far as communication goes, like I said, I think that's going to be super, super important for this summer. What do we use? If you've been in camp before, you know that we use emails pretty frequently. We will also send out surveys at the end of the summer. And then we also can contact you via phone. That's why it's super important that we have those emergency contacts included in your EPACT information. All of that information is available to us digitally. So we do have pretty remote access to it and can get to it pretty quickly if need be, if there is an emergency situation. But and then why do we do it? Obviously, we do it to make sure that you guys are all staying in the loop. We pass out, or we'll do weekly newsletters every Friday, just kind of highlighting some of the activities and programs that we did during the summer, or at least during that week. And if you're fortunate enough, your kiddo might make it onto our newsletter, which is always kind of fun to see, I think. And then always, it's important that I hope you guys know that we are always open to, receiving camp feedback. Again, this summer is going to be a little bit different compared to, summers that we're used to. So again, we ask for your patience as we really kind of try to all navigate through this together. I think like I said, we have the right staff in place to make this a memorable summer for the best. So, and again, just making sure that we have that stuff on file, especially for emergency situations, I think is super important. And I always thought that this little meme down here was funny with Tom Cruise from, I think it's Any Given Sunday, I think. So if someone's wrong, or if I'm wrong, you can go ahead and correct me in that little text box too. I take a lot of pride in my movie quoting ability. So with that being said, I do ask that you guys, file this information away. As you can see, we have a couple of different camp locations. So we've got Camp Erie over at ARPS, and then we also have Camp Erie over here at the Erie Community Center. Those are the two phone numbers that are going to be associated with each camp. So I highly, highly, highly encourage that you just program those into your phone before camp even starts. It makes it a lot easier. It's a lot, I feel like the communication's a lot smoother if you just have those in there. So that way, if you're in a meeting or something like that, and we're giving you a call, it's not like a spam caller or anything like that. So, yeah. Again, over at ARPS, we have kids ages 5 to 7. And then these groups are going to be broken down to stay within that one counselor to 10 kiddo guidelines. So we'll get creative in making new names for your groups or for our groups, just so that your kids kind of know, which group they're going to be with and all that kind of stuff. So again, those site directors are Caitlin Elvendahl and then Valerie Martis. Their emails are below there. Or I guess I'll send Caitlin's out. That was actually the directors from last year's, so I missed that little SP there. But I'll make sure that you guys have that information as well. And then again, Camp Erie, that's our phone number there. Campers ages 8 to 14. Again, they'll be broken down into those smaller groups. And then site directors are going to be Hannah Gallagher and Caitlin Thornton. And if you guys ever need anything too, feel free to let me know. And I'm more than happy to help out as well. So what's new and what's the same? Well, there's a lot new, obviously, what's going on with the COVID-19 pandemic that we're all working through. Swim days, we are still working with our aquatics team to get those kind of ironed out in figuring out a plan that's going to work out best for our campers as well as our aquatic staff. Again, I ask for your patience there. Again, we're trying to make this as genuine of a camp experience as we can. We do intend to use the pool unless I hear otherwise. So I'll keep you guys all updated and let you know as soon as I get a definitive plan with our aquatics team as far as what that's going to look like. Unfortunately, again, due to the COVID, pandemic that we're experiencing, we did have to we did have to cancel our camp-only swim lessons. So again, that was a hard decision to make, but we want to make sure that we're doing the best for our campers and for you guys to make sure that everybody's staying safe. And then weekly themes, those are going to be different. If you haven't already checked out our Camp Erie website, I would highly recommend you do that. There's a lot of good resources on there. And obviously, with the field trips, we are going to, try and do at-home field trips or at the facility field trips for our campers, just to make sure that we're breaking up those days and giving them, again, as genuine of a camp experience that we can. And then we will still be holding assemblies on Tuesdays. So again, those might look a little different. Again, I ask for your patience as we kind of work through this together, but I think we've got a lot of cool things on deck for the summer, and I'm really excited about it. So there are going to be different payment plans. So the payment plans are going to start starting on May 18th, and they're going to end on July 13th. If we do get recommendations, or if the CDC does release anything that's going to delay our start of camp, I want everybody to know that we won't be charging you for the days or for the weeks that we don't offer camp. So if we do need to do a delayed start and start in June, you won't be charged for those weeks that you won't be coming to camp for those guidelines. Okay. And then, like I said, what's the same? Field trips on Thursdays. We did have to cancel all of our off-site field trips, and we'll be working on getting vendors to come into each site to provide an at-home field trip. I'll go over what those look like in the next slide here. Again, assemblies on Tuesdays, payment plans still the same, and then emergency paperwork. So EPACT, if you haven't already finished that stuff, definitely be sure you get that done prior to the start of camp. If we don't have that on file for you, we won't be able to admit your kiddo into camp. So super important, especially now that that we need to know if there are any underlying health conditions for your kiddo. So super, super, super important. I can't emphasize that enough, that we get that information on file and ready for you guys. Obviously, the camp locations are still the same for our kiddos. Basic schedules are still going to be the same. We'll release that information as those dates get closer and as we get our groups put together. So again, just asking for your patience there as we kind of work through some of this stuff. And then we also will be having our back to school camp. We still have that slated. We have 2 weeks of back to school camp, August 3rd through the 7th, and then again, August 10th through the 14th. So yeah, and then here's a list. Again, this is going to be recorded, or I am recording this for everybody. So if you guys want to go back through and look at it a little later, I'm hopeful that our RT department will be able to get this put up either tomorrow or over the weekend. So if you guys want to come back and reference it, definitely feel free to do that. I'll also post this information on our Camp Erie website too. As you can see, we've got a bunch of different stuff lined up. We are still kind of waiting. If anybody has any questions, I ask that you guys please hold off and wait until the end. I'll be doing a Q&A session at the end there. I see that the chat box is kind of blowing up, so please hold on to those questions, and I promise we'll get to those here in a little bit. As you can see, we've got different themes, we've got different assemblies, and then we will also have our fantastic Fun Fridays. I think that's going to be super fun. And again, a lot of these are, we have a few of them that are TBD. We got the news, just over like a week and a half ago that we were going to have to cancel, those offsite field trips. So we are working our hardest to get some of those stuff, get that stuff, all taken care of and organized for you guys. So again, we appreciate your guys' patience as we work through a lot of these, hurdles that we're going through. So yeah. This is what your camper should bring to camp. Always, sometimes, and never. We always, or at least for this summer, are going to ask that your camper come with a face mask for camp. If your camper does forget it, we will have a couple, or we will have some extras on site. But like I was saying, we do ask that you bring that and just include it with your camper, and have that just be something that they bring to camp. And then always make sure that you're packing them with a nutritious lunch as well as snacks, water bottle, obviously. We will still be giving out the Camp Erie shirts, which is going to be fun too. So I'm excited to give those out to everybody on the first day of camp. And always make sure that they're wearing appropriate clothing and shoes. We do ask that they not wear Heelys or sandals or anything like that. They will still be doing active games throughout the summer. So I don't know if anybody here has ever tried to run around in flip-flops, but I look like a duck that's learning how to walk when I have those on. So yeah, just make sure that they're coming with the correct footwear and attire as well. And again, we always ask that they have, as well as the parents and our staff, have a positive attitude and willingness to try new things. I'm super, super pumped for the summer. I think it's going to be great. And like I said, we'll get through this all together. And I appreciate everybody's patience and flexibility as we're getting through all of this together. And always, please make sure that you have your ID at pickup as well as checkout. Super important for the safety of the campers. We just want to make sure that we're following all of our guidelines in place. If you don't have your ID, we will ask you to go out and get it. We do have staff that might not know who you are. We have staff that might know who you are, but just make sure that you have that on your person when you come in for pickup as well as checkout too. So sometimes we will be sending out permission slips and waivers as those at-home field trips kind of come in. Keep an eye out for those in our weekly newsletter. That's how a lot of information gets sent out to you guys. So make sure that you guys have a proper email on file. If you haven't been getting my updates, I ask that you just send me a quick email. My email will be listed at the end of this presentation. So you guys are always more than welcome to shoot me an email if you haven't been getting those updates or anything like that. Bring a swimsuit and towel on your designated swim day. Again, I'll release that information a little bit more once I hear from our aquatics team as far as what that's going to look like. And then always make sure that you check that newsletter for additional swim days. We might do like a water day or something like that too, and still make sure that we're following those social distancing guidelines and all that kind of stuff too. And always, or sometimes, if you have a kid that is prone to accidents, pack them with an extra set of clothes. We do have extra clothes here at camp that will be sanitized and everything. So, we do have that in our back pocket. They're not the most fashionable of clothes, I'll say that. But if it does happen, we do have that as a backup. But if you know that your kiddo is prone to accidents or anything like that, definitely make sure that you bring that just in case. And then never, we ask that you guys, don't bring any spending money unless we release that like in the newsletter. Any personal items, cell phones, toys, tablets, stuff like that. We are going to ask that you keep those at home. If you have an older camper who does have a cell phone, they can bring it to camp, but we will ask that you guys turn it off and put it in their backpack, just so they're not getting distracted throughout the day. Any items that you'd be upset with losing, make sure you're not packing your kiddos with any important family heirlooms or anything like that. That's definitely a joke. I know it's not a very good one, but I always like to throw it in there just in case. And then just so everybody knows, Camp Erie is not responsible for any lost, stolen, or misplaced items. And one thing, kind of a helpful tip, is just make sure that you label everything at camp. We have quite a few kiddos, and we all know how kiddos can lose things. So just make sure that it's labeled, and we'll make sure that it finds its way home with you guys. So our next slide is going to just be on behavior management. Camp Erie focuses on positive behavior intervention systems. So we have one main rule at camp, and that's going to be respect. So we ask that all of our campers respect themselves, they respect others, and then they also respect the camp supplies and materials that we have. So we feel like that respect rule kind of covers all of our bases. So make sure that you guys, if you haven't already, check out our parent manual. That'll go over a lot of the information that that's not listed on this slide. So definitely make sure you go over that with your camper prior to the start of camp, just so that they're aware and they kind of know, what those expectations are, before they even come in the doors. So we focus on emphasizing and reinforcing positive behaviors in prevention of serious behaviors. So we'll give out buckaroos. Again, we'll make sure that these are all sanitized and clean for the campers. And then at the end of every Friday, or for our Fantastic Fun Friday, with those buckaroos, campers can actually buy, fun games and little trinkets and toys and all that kind of stuff, at the end of those Fantastic Fun Fridays. So it kind of gives the campers something to look forward to, with all of that. And like I said, make sure you guys check out our Camp Erie website. There's a lot of great resources and a lot of good information on there. So I highly, highly, highly recommend that you check that stuff out before summer camp starts. And then just finally, we've got some helpful tips and tricks. Like I was talking about earlier, make sure you read our weekly newsletter to know what's going to be going on next week. And make sure your email is up to date too. My email is listed right there. So it's dpeters@erieco.gov. If you don't have that information already, definitely put that on file. Or if you need me to put a new email on file for you, definitely just shoot me an email with that email, and we can kind of go from there. I realized I said email there about 15 times, so that's always good. And then if you're on a payment plan, make sure your card hasn't expired. And obviously, if fraudulent activity has happened on your card, make sure you put a new card on file as soon as possible with myself or any of our guest service reps, so you don't miss any payments or anything like that. And if you aren't able to make any payments, or if we see failure to see those payments come through, your camper won't be able to come into camp unless that balance is paid. So like I said, it's always better to be proactive than reactive there. So just make sure that if anything's changed there, you can always reach out to me and I can get all of that information updated as well. Like we talked about earlier, make sure you pack your camper with a face mask, a nutritious snack, 2 to 3 additional snacks, as we won't have any snacks available for campers. We might have a few here and there just for emergencies, but again, make sure that those campers, you guys are giving them enough snacks to kind of get them through the day as well. Always make sure that they have a water bottle, just so they're staying hydrated and all that good stuff. We'll have them running around and having a good time this summer, I think. So, for the safety of our campers, again, please make sure you bring your ID at pickup every day. We've got a lot of staff that work camp. And as you guys all know, camp runs from 7 a.m. all the way until 6 o'clock p.m. So we've got a lot of campers coming in our doors. And we also have a lot of staff working for your campers or working with our campers. So, make sure that you're bringing that ID just so we're being safe and making sure that everybody's going home with the right parent and all that kind of stuff. So pack an extra set of clothes if your camper's backpack if they're prone to accidents, kind of like we talked about earlier. And then again, like I was saying, make sure you put your child's name on just about everything, water bottles, swimming towels, lunch bags, boxes, backpacks, all that stuff, just to make sure that they get to the right house. Make sure they come back with your camper. And like I said, or I don't know if I said this earlier, unclaimed items, we'll hold on to them and are lost and found. But at the end of the week, we will donate those if they don't find their way home. So just make sure that you're labeling all of your guys' campers' information in materials. So another helpful tip, like we talked about, please review our parent manuals, FAQs, and other documents on our Camp Erie website. This presentation will also be available there as well. So like I said, make sure you guys go over that information and, we can kind of go from there. And finally, make sure your EPACT information is submitted and up to date, including those immunization records. If you're having any issues logging into EPACT, definitely shoot me an email and let me know, and I can do my best to help troubleshoot, and we can kind of go from there. So With all of that being said, you know, this is our last slide. So I know that there's probably a lot of questions here. So give me 1 second. I'm going to pull up our little chat box here, and you know, we will go through these. So like I said, I will do my best to get through all of these questions here. Jerry McGuire, thank you guys. I appreciate that. I don't know why I blanked on it. I might just be nervous for this parent meeting, but thank you for that correction there. Yes, like I said, campers will be wearing masks as well as staff members. You know, if they can't maintain that social distancing, you know, we're going to make sure that they do have those masks on. So another question here, two questions. So if we decide to withdraw a child from camp by 5/11, how do we do that too? If there is someone sick, or if they are sent home because someone's sick, will we be refunded? So if you want to withdraw your camper from camp, shoot me an email. Again, my email is listed here, dpeters@erieco.gov. Let me know by 5/11, just so that we have enough time to, you know, make sure we get that taken care of. And if there is someone sick, will we be refunded? Let me touch base with my my supervisor, and I can get back with you guys on that one. And like I said, I'll disseminate that information in our weekly update that I send out on Fridays. So thank you for those questions. So another question, how do you make up groups, and do they stay the same all summer, or will they rotate? So so how do we make the groups? So we'll obviously try and stick within those age groups. We're going to try and stick primarily based off of age, and they will be required. It is a CDC requirement that they stay in those groups the entire summer. They won't be rotating with a new, you know, staff member or anything like that unless something comes up health-wise or anything. So again, that's a recommendation that was put in place by the CDC. So if that changes, I will definitely let you guys all know. Okay, I'll skip over that one. Next question is what is back to school camp? Back to school camp is just like an extended 2 weeks of camp at the end of the summer. So our Camp Erie program goes from May 26th until July 31st. And then we have 2 additional weeks for back to school camp. So so when we do that, the enrollment's a lot less. So we have 60 campers for each of those weeks. And registration is open for that if you guys want to register. If you have any questions, shoot me an email. So is there going to be a reduction in price because there's no offsite field trips? We are going to reallocate those funds for the field trips to do more on-site field trips or more assemblies for camp. They're also going to go over and help with the supplies and all that stuff. But we are going to do our best to make sure that we provide a fun atmosphere for camp, because we won't be able to go offsite for those field trips, but we are reallocating those funds to go towards, you know, more assemblies and activities for the kiddos during the summer. When will I know the camp start date? So as it currently stands, camp is still on to start on May 26th. The CDC is releasing some camp guidelines, or they were supposed to release them today. I don't know if those got delayed or not. I've kind of been checking throughout the day, but as it currently stands, we are still slated to start on May 26th. So that's Tuesday. That's the day after Memorial Day. If anything like that changes, I will reach out to everybody and let you all know. So next question is, with groups of 10 campers plus 1 staff, how will they maintain 6 feet of distancing? Also, can you speak to the cleaning procedures? So, so with that 6 feet of social distancing, from my understanding, that is with other groups. So as long as they're in that same group with their counselor, you know, they should be able to maintain those 6 feet. of social distancing, and they'll also be wearing those face masks just to prevent a potential spread there. And then cleaning procedures. We will be having all of our staff, sanitize everything before and after every use, and every time they transition to a new area of the facility. So if they're going from the Briggs room to the gym, we'll have a staff member stay behind, sanitize the room, come back and meet up with the group in the gymnasium, and then they'll also sanitize everything there. One second. So I will answer that one privately there. And then, yeah, I'll also email the presentation out to everybody as well. Thanks, Chad. I can definitely do that for you. I know I'm kind of a little bit delayed here. How are we going to deal with mask fatigue? They are hard to wear all day. Again, we're going to do our best to make sure that we're maintaining those 6 feet of social distancing if we can, or when we can. So if they don't have, like I said, we're going to do our best there to make sure that we keep those masks on and all that kind of stuff. Again, reach out to me privately if you have an additional question there, and I can help you out there. What is the preferred way to submit immunization records? Preferred way would be just to upload them online onto ePact. If you can't do that, you can send them as a PDF and send them to me in an email, and I can get them uploaded for you guys.
Can I add something there?
Oh yeah, is that Caitlin?
Yeah, it's Caitlin. Hi.
Hey, Caitlin.
I just wanted to let everybody know that if you upload your immunizations with the approved form from the Colorado Health Department, then we won't have to reach out to you to ask you to resend it in, just so everybody knows.
And if anybody is curious as to what that form looks like, send me a message and I can send that out to you. It should, I think it is also on our Camp Erie webpage as well. So just let me know if you need anything there.
Thanks.
Cool. Let's see here. Sorry, just kind of working through everything. Yeah, masks again. Yeah, we'll have everybody wear those. Let's see. So my son turns 10 on June 2nd. Will he be in the 8 to 10 group or 10 to 11 group? Does ECC have to be open in order to run camp? If sick, can they come back after they've recovered? So we'll start with that second one, or that last one. Yes, they can come back to camp. They will need that clearance letter from a doctor saying that they are able to come back to camp. Does ECC have to be open in order to run camp? Since we are a state licensed camp program, we are considered an essential service. So we have every intention to run for the summer. And then with that age group difference, we'll probably just keep them in that first age group that they were originally assigned. If anything changes there, I'll reach out and let you know. Will friends be grouped together? So we will do our best to make that accommodation. Again, working within those 1 to 10 guidelines is going to be, the first thing that we take into consideration here. We'll try our hardest to make sure that that happens, but we can't 100% guarantee that. Hannah is on it there.
If you guys want to email directors because there's specific people that your kids want to be in, that does help us a little bit better than after the second or third day of camp, you guys asking us to make that change. We can't promise anything, but we will do our best to make sure that they have people that they know with inside their group.
Cool. Thank you, Hannah. So if we withdraw by 5/11 due to the COVID concerns, will our registration fee be refunded? Send me a message and I'll get back with you on that one. We can certainly work with everybody here. Again, our main concern is that everybody is having a positive experience during the summer. see. Does the group by age group requirement mean the kids who turn 8 right after camp starts cannot move up to the ECC? Misty, email me directly and you and I can chat about that one. I know that you had chatted with me a little bit earlier, but yeah, shoot me another email and we can go from there. Will offsite visitors be subject to the same public health procedures as the campers and staff? We will make sure that everybody is entering the facility sanitized and ready to go. So we do ask that, you know, they do come with a face mask as well, just to help prevent any potential spread of the COVID virus. Let's see. Will you be refunded if a child misses days due to a temperature or has COVID symptoms? That's a really great question. Again, let me follow up with my supervisor there and see what we can do. I don't foresee that being an issue, but again, we want to make sure that we're, you know, obviously making sure that those kiddos are staying safe and healthy during the summer. How will social distancing be maintained during assemblies and field trips? We will have quite a bit of space to kind of move around in working in those field trips and those assemblies. So we'll ask that the campers stay within those groups. And then we'll also have like rotations for assemblies and field trips as well, just to make sure that those groups are getting enough time in those areas and all that kind of stuff.
In the past, we were doing groups like the ECC site and the Aspen Ridge site. And this year, due to COVID, we'll be doing the field trips longer throughout the day and having just small groups go during that to split it up and keep social distancing.
Cool. Thank you, Hannah. Sweet. So what will they be doing with their backpacks since the buckets don't seem sanitary? You know, that's a great question. Let me get back to you on that one, Tara, and we'll kind of work through that together. All right. Let's see here. Okay, so just to confirm, so there is no ambiguity. Are you saying that within the groups, there will be no social distancing? In those groups, we are going to try and maintain that social distancing the best that we can. Again, it's important that we have those kids wear those masks just to make sure that you know, we are doing our part there. Let's see here. Okay. Through a lot. Answered that one. Okay. Is there a way that we can be charged for the month? Or let's see, this question was missed earlier. I'd feel more comfortable sending my son starting at the end of June. Is there any way I could not be charged for the month of June given the current circumstances? Jeff, reach out to me and we can kind of chat about that. I want to make sure that you guys feel safe sending your kiddos to summer or sending kiddos to camp this summer. Do lunch and snacks need to be nut-free? They do not, but we will have separate areas for kids who do have allergies. So we will have designated areas for them to eat their snacks. All right. So may have missed this addressed earlier, apologies if so, but if campers over the age of 12 come to camp on their own, yes, they can. They will have to have that box. It's the, I can't remember it off the top of my head. Caitlin or Hannah, you'll have to help me out here. You'll have to just sign off on that for on EPACT. It's the bike to camp waiver form, I believe. So just make sure that that box is checked and is filled out there.
You can have your kid go home by themselves, check in and out at 10 years old too.
Yep. Thank you, Caitlin.
Yeah.
Yeah, another good question here. So if they're social distancing and in small groups, what is the experience going to be like? What type of activities, etc.? We'll still be doing a bunch of different games, gym activities, arts and crafts activities, all that stuff. We're going to try to make it as close to our summer camps that we've had in the past. Might look a little different, but we're going to do our best to make sure that we have activities like they were previously. All right, sweet. So what is the protocol if our child needs to miss a day of camp? So if your child does need to miss a day of camp, you can absolutely reach out to me or one of the camp directors and let us know, so that way we're not waiting up for you or anything like that. And we'll let all of that information go through that way. See, will they go outside or be in a classroom all day? So we are going to be, each group will have a designated spot that they'll meet up at every single day for camp. And then from there, we'll do rotations to other parts of the facility so that they can do other games and whatnot. So they're not going to just be limited to one place for camp or anything like that. So, starting to get a couple more here. Give me 1 second. Is the ECC going to be open to the general public during camp? We're still working out those details. I will release that information, or the town will release that information as far as that information goes. We're going to do the best that we can to make sure that campers are secluded from the general public. Our plan right now is to make sure that they have access to the community rooms and everything that's called our A side or our B side of our facility. So we are given exclusive access to that. So yeah. Since they will be on site each day, is there a time frame where they must check in by and a time that they must check out after? So yeah, as far as that goes, you guys can drop off your kiddos as early as 7 a.m. and you can pick up as late as 6. So scheduled activities will starting at 9:30. So anytime before that is usually better if you can get them there, so that way we can make sure that they get with their group and are ready for camp. That's awesome. And then yeah, like I said, the latest that we can keep a kiddo is going to be 6 o'clock. See here. I appreciate your guys' patience. Thank you. Do we need to provide sunscreen? Oh, Hannah already answered that one. Y'all are on it. Yes, if you are going to miss, a day of camp, definitely let myself or your site-specific camp director know. So if you start camp and then you decide you no longer feel safe sending the kids, can we be refunded for the remainder? Again, let me check in with my supervisor there. I want to make sure that we are giving you guys the best possible experience and all that kind of stuff too. So I will reach out and let you guys all know there. Where there'll be team sports, access to the gym, use of the climbing wall, etc. Yes, we will have access to the gym. Team sports, I'm not sure if you mean like specifically to our sports program or anything like that, but I don't foresee, I don't oversee our sports program, so I can't answer that one, but use of the climbing wall, we should be able to do that as well. So if swim lessons do happen, do kids need to have a certain level of swimming ability to participate? We've actually just decided to cancel the swim lessons altogether, just for the safety of our campers and for our aquatic staff. Perfect. Thank you, Caitlin, for answering that one. All right. And then so can you review the plan for swim again? I know you reviewed the swim lessons, but are you proceeding with open swim days? So like I said, we will be working with our aquatic staff to figure out the best plan of action there. We do, what we've talked about is going through and having each group have a specific swim day, and then also providing a like an alternative like water day with their group. Again, more information to come there.
Hey, David, can I chime in for a second?
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead, Rachel.
So hi, everyone. My name is Rachel Weissef. I'm the Recreation Division Manager. Thank you guys all for doing this. And man, we are just charting, new territory here. So we really appreciate everyone's flexibility. I read the one about the warning signs to watch for masks, and I'm glad that you brought that up, because as a parent, I'm actually concerned about the same thing. And luckily, because we're a licensed program, we have our own designated nurse. She's our nurse consultant. And so, yeah, we'll definitely be connecting with her on what that looks like. As being in charge of the entire recreation division, another concern I have is anybody even working out in my facility with the mask on, because of what that looks like. So I do want you to know, we'll be looking further into this. And what's interesting in all of this, and again, we're just going to have to ask for your patience, is that the level and amount of information that we have been receiving over the last month has been a lot of information. It's been pretty intense. And so as we're trying to navigate all this information and figure out really what the best course of action and still how to accommodate this fantastic camp that we know we can put on, we're learning a little bit as we go, but I know that David is really committed to communicating this information to you guys. The other thing that I think is interesting to note is that, so we've been following state licensing, we've been following Governor Polis, we've been following CDC, and then just this week we heard CDC is going to now release more guidelines specific to summer camp, which is really interesting. So we were really hoping to have that before this meeting today, and of course it hasn't been released yet. So now we're learning there's another set of guidelines that's coming out that we're going to have to also work through, and again, we'll communicate that information to you as it comes out. And again, if we need to adjust, we'll make sure that we're communicating that. In a comment though about the backpacks, I did want to share that we have purchased, they're called like UV wands. So it's a way to disinfect without touching. And so we can use the UV wands over the backpacks. And again, it's not a chemical, it's just a light that helps disinfect. So I just wanted to also share that. And then also with the spacing at the ECC, so it is pretty difficult, like knowing what's going to happen. But what we're kind of envisioning is that those community rooms you guys had, or people that are used to camp, especially at the ECC, you had that big community room, and that was kind of the starting and the ending point of the day. Well, what we have committed to is all of those community rooms are going to be dedicated to camp for at least the month of June, so that we can also work through this. I told my staff a couple weeks ago, I feel like we're playing the game while we're writing the rules, and so I want to give camp as much space to kind of work through all of this. So know that we're dedicated to doing that. And then when we do open the ECC to the public, it's really going to be on the other side of the building, kind of where the drop-in fitness and all that area is. So at least through June, that's kind of our game plan. And again, as we are as things continue to unfold and we continue to learn more of now we're safer at home, and I guess our phase 3 is protect your neighbor, and you know what those guidelines look at. We'll be following that closely for sure. So, and I do just want to say thank you to David. I think he had 4 or 5 different plans written out in place of different options of how this is all going to go down. And again, every day we're learning a little bit more, but know that we're committed to this camp for this summer.
Awesome. Thank you, Rachel. So looks like we had just one. Oh, thank you, everybody. I appreciate that. So one final question here, and then I'll let everybody go. But final question was, my child is 5. So this is new to us. Can you explain what areas are used at Aspen Ridge? So if you're familiar with the school at all, what areas we use is we use the cafeteria. Then we also have access to a couple of other, classrooms. And then we also have access to their heart area, which is a more or less a kind of like a lobby area. And then we also have access to their gymnasium over there as well. So yeah. Hope that answered that question. Sweet. So again, thank you everybody for stopping by and for coming in tonight. I know it's under a little bit of different circumstances, but like I was saying earlier, I know that we have all of the right staff to make this a fun and memorable summer. Again, thank you everybody for your patience and for your time. We really, really appreciate that. So again, if you guys have any additional questions, feel free to reach out to me directly via email, and I'm more than happy to address any of those concerns that you might have. But again, keep an eye out on your emails. I'll keep sending those weekly updates and other updates as necessary. But again, thank you for your time, and I look forward to seeing everybody again here soon. So have a great rest of your night, and we'll be in touch. Everybody stay safe.